Yo, what is up, guys? And we are back for another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, and big time shout out to the king of Dokkan himself, the Truth DT. So he went ahead, it looks like, and stuck the Japanese characters into Google Translate and came up with the category missions for the new GT Legendary Goku event. So this is very, very exciting. Obviously, you guys have heard by now. We are indeed getting this at the same time as JP. We're actually also getting all of the EZAs and stuff that happened on JP 2 weeks ago. For some reason, it's just 2 weeks behind. You know, something could come to light soon enough, like maybe, possibly, I'm not saying this is guaranteed by any means, but possibly some kind of global first unit. I don't think so, but you know, we shall see kind of what happens. I don't know. But anyway, what I want to do in this video today is maybe go through some teams that you could run. Maybe you don't have, maybe you didn't summon on a lot of these like newer leaders, right? So for instance, Space Traveling Warriors, Bojack, Connected Hope, you've got Pycon, Mind and Body Erosion, you know, you've got Tech Janemba, and then of course Grade 8 Power, maybe you didn't summon for Gogeta. So a lot of these teams, it is very, very possible you don't have just like the meta leader. So what I want to do in this video today is go through some alternative teams, because guess what? Your boy summons a lot on this game, and I'm very, very unlucky lately. So I don't have a fair amount of these category leaders. I don't. I really don't think it's going to be much of an issue for a lot of us. Just also keep this in mind. I'm going to keep this as free-to-play friendly as possible, but at a certain point, you know, like, this is endgame content. You are going to need to have some summonable units, you know, unless you're just, the, you know, the master free-to-play player, Jay Fanta himself. It's just you're going to have some units with some amount of dupes if you want to complete some of this tougher content. So, all of that being said, let's go through every single one of these teams, and we'll go through them as quickly as we can. Okay, so starting with team number 1. This is one of those teams where, like, you're either going to have some of these units or you're not going to. This particular rendition is without LR Goku and Frieza. Maybe you don't summon on legendary summon banners too often, and you don't have Goku and Frieza. I mean, completely reasonable. In the same way that it's very possible you don't have this guy, very possible you don't have this guy. You guys will find out here pretty quickly there are certainly some good substitutions that you can have. Hopefully you do have the rest of them. Like, this guy just recently returned on a banner. I actually picked him up with coins. I felt like he was worth it. This guy is going to be incredibly valuable on this team. His ability to stack defense. And then once you get him enough defensive stacks, go ahead and switch him over to Golden Frieza and just watch the damage just, you know, fucking flood like a, like a broken dam or something like that. So, I mean, he does some crazy damage, even at 55%. I'm working on his link levels currently, but this guy's very, very powerful, obviously. And honestly, like, I know this guy gets a lot of shit. This guy is actually a very powerful unit. I think what holds him back is he needs to get hit. He gets a lot of shit because you can't use him on no-item runs. Well, guess what? Not every run is going to be a no-item run. I just understand that, right? Also, by the way, look at that card art, man. That sticker effect is so good. But this guy is actually pretty damn good, and I don't know why you would not want to run him. Rather, you should be running him on your Reps of U7 team. Now, maybe after the 6th year anniversary, that will change because there's going to be a lot of just dominant beasts on that team. But currently, as the way Global sits, you definitely want him on your team, whether he's the leader or not. Obviously, LR Goku and Frieza are going to be more ideal because of that top-tier 177% leader skill. But remember, this guy does the Spirit Bomb, man. The Spirit Bomb is so devastating. And when you have a character that greatly stacks attack, just infinitely, unconditionally raises attack on every single super attack, by the end of the event, you are going to be able to one-shot Super Saiyan 4, you know, the full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, right? You're going to be able to one-shot him or come pretty damn close. And if you don't, you're going to give all of your allies an out-of-turn attack buff by 30%. So an LRB pan effect, essentially, right? So, you know, again, this guy gets a lot of shit. You are probably going to have to use, you know, an Icarus item, a Whis item. And a lot of that is going to depend, right? Like, how tough are they actually going to make this? Are they going to make it conducive to free-to-play players? They said it's on the level of Extreme Super Battle Road. So that being said, using this guy as a leader, especially if you're using 2 of them, you are probably going to need to use items. It just is what it is, right? But you know, as the 6th-year anniversary comes and goes, there's going to be a lot of units that you're going to be able to use, free to play and otherwise, right? So the physical free to play UI Goku, the EZA of the Int UI Goku, right? Obviously AGL LR UI Goku if you manage to pull him, Int Evolution Blue Vegeta. Just kind of goes without saying, right? There's a lot of units that power up that team. Certainly some of those support units are pretty nice too, including LR Master Roshi. Probably maybe the first or second best free-to-play unit in the game, right? So, again, just be expecting that. So, and then these guys we know, like, yeah, if they have Rainbow Orb Changers, they're a lot better. But if you do get lucky with the Rainbow Orbs, obviously you're going to want to run them on your team, right? They just do way too much damage to ignore. And then the other ones are kind of just fill-ins. Again, you could probably, you know, it's not going to be optimal by any stretch, but I do believe the last phase, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I think I heard that it was a tech enemy is the last phase. So I think you could easily just sub in Int UI Goku. And, you know, yes, he's going to negate dodging. For sure, that last boss does negate dodging. But having guard with Int UI Goku, you're not going to be taking too much damage. Now, we shall see. I mean, I might eat my words there. But especially if you've got his links grinded up and stuff like that, even Int UI Goku, I think, would be a wise choice here. And then the rest are kind of just, again, fill-ins, more or less. Evolution Blue Vegeta. He's going to be good in the long event. Again, if the last enemy is tech, you might want to rethink this guy, because he will take some damage. I mean, his stats are a little low at this point. For a Dokkan Festival exclusive, they are. He's got a decent defensive stat there. I guess if you're able to build up his defense, and again, if you do just plan on using items, he's probably going to be a fine choice, but maybe not optimal to bring him. MVP 17 is still a very, very good unit. Get him, you know, 70% HP or lower, 77%, excuse me. And you're going to reduce damage by 40%, so really, really good. Now, this is a rendition of basically the same exact team, right? But just as LR Goku and Frieza as the leader. Again, at a certain point, you do have to have some units, and this is one of those teams before the 6th-year anniversary, not a ton of free-to-play options, like basically not at all, right? You've got like a free-to-play 17, a free-to-play 18, and then you've got the free-to-play Fizz UI Goku, but before his Dokkan Awakening and EZA, man, he's trash. I mean, he's really not good. You know, he is I think a minor support unit, but he's not going to cut it in something like the Legendary Goku event, right? So again, at a certain point, this is one of those teams I feel like you're either going to have the units or you're not going to. But let's go ahead and move on to the next team here. So this is the traditional Battle of Wits team. And this, again, might not be completely like the quote-unquote the meta team or whatever, but I imagine a lot of you are going to have a lot of these units. Even a unit like Fizz Piccolo. He's been on a few banners now. Probably more than likely you have him. But if you don't, I think there are clearly some options that you can fill in. You know, we'll go over it here soon. And then straight up, man, the leader. The Battle of Wits leader. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this unit right here. This Goku and Vegeta unit I absolutely love. Raising defense, attack and defense on their 12 and 18 key super. Couple that with the potential to triple super attack. You know, 30% damage reduction. They are really, really powerful. Do I even really need to go over this guy? I mean, this guy can potentially triple super. He builds up attack, defense, and key when you get him into blue. He's going to link up exceptionally well with any one of these units, short of maybe him. But this guy, you know, what's going to be really, really nice about him is he's going to be able to foresee super attacks. So you can definitely put some of your units out of harm's way, and then hello, he raises defense infinitely. Unfortunately, just without the same name update, you can't really get this guy. This guy, it's just like it's such a cock tease to even be able to transform into him because he's just so ridiculously powerful, and you just never, ever, ever see him. But after the same name update, it certainly gets a little bit easier when you can run more than one Piccolo on the same team. You could easily run this guy's, you know, could you run his SSR? I actually don't know. Could you? Let's hold on. Let's check the growth tab. Does he stack defense at least? Yeah, he does. You could run his SSR. I mean, straight up. So, but again, Fizz VB, you probably have if you've been playing for a number of years. We all know what Fizz VB does at this point. Same thing with AGL Super Vegito, right? So having Piccolo on the same team as Super Vegito is honestly kind of deadly because he'll be able to do his counters with the, you know, presence of knowledge, knowing where super attacks are. So you could even link them together They do both have shocking speed. They'll at least have shocking speed and fierce battle, right? I mean, it's not the worst linking tandem you could think of, right? So you could easily rock that as a rotation, you know, and then obviously, again, you probably have summoned a lot on banners with these guys on it. So the 3-year fusions, the int, and the physical ones, right? You probably have int Vegito, right? So this is the traditional Battle of Wits team. This is just a variation. Some of these units, when I'm doing these team building guides, I do put on there for the sake of diversity, right? So this is sort of more or less like a non-traditional Battle of Wits team. Maybe you didn't summon on the Worldwide Download Celebration for some reason. Maybe you were, you know, down on Dokkan or taking a break or something like that. But maybe you did summon on the 5-year anniversary. You've got yourself a really, really sick-ass Final Trump Card / Patara team right here. So this is a very, very, again, you've got the likes of Fizz Piccolo, right? Even Tech Trunks, man. He is Final Trump Card, yes? Ah, okay, so I would have to replace him, right? So we can actually, let's just go ahead and do it live, right? So let's go ahead and fix this. So that team comes later. So let's go ahead and find Final Trump, well, okay, Final Trump Card. So Final Trump Card and Patara, right? So let's go ahead and see, oh, I want to do a partial match. Excuse me, hold on. So yeah, Final Trump Card and Patara. I think that when you're thinking about Battle of Wits, like there are still a lot. Are you on Battle of Wits? Like why not rock him? Yeah, he is on Battle of Wits. Just go ahead and rock, you know, MVP 17. There's a ton of units that you're going to be able to rock. And even with the upcoming categories, like we are going to be able to make teams even though we don't have the meta leaders. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. So this is my makeshift power absorption team. Again, like at this point, they have been on multiple banners. So that is kind of my stipulation for this video is if they've been on multiple banners, at the very least, you have a decent shot of having them, right? So maybe you got unlucky, quote unquote unlucky, and pulled these guys. You know, at the very least, when this guy becomes this guy, he takes certainly takes a big step up in power. But especially when he becomes Super Boo, he's one of the best units in the game. Straight up, dude. Super Boo is so crazy ridiculous. Unfortunately, his ability to seal is not really all that useful, but he's reducing damage by 50%. He greatly raises attack and defense for 3 turns. Combine that with that damage reduction, absolutely cray-cray, right? Key 3 attack 220% is so good. And then he does have a chance of performing crits, which is going to be helpful, you know, specifically in the last couple phases, right? You know, being able to do big damage. The only problem is I think bare bones minimum to get this guy. Now, the bare bones minimum you can get a unit like Super Boo, and the same goes for Gotenks, is if you do get him in slot 7, you go ahead and float him off. And then when he comes back again on, I believe that would be turn 5, right? He can actually transform into Super Boo. For whatever reason, that's how it is, right? I mean, it's supposed to be, I believe it is, yeah, 4th turn after exchange, but for whatever reason, that's how it works, right? So you can potentially get him on turn 5, which is still pretty deep in an event, to be honest with you. But it is possible. So again, he would be your makeshift leader. Could you make a Target Goku team? Maybe you could. Target Goku androids. On power absorption, I don't know. That would probably be, that's pretty tough to say. But Android 13, remember, especially, well, you're not going to be able to transform with him on this team, unfortunately, but I think he's still going to have enough defense to be very, very effective. But if you can potentially squeeze a few more androids on this team, remember that you have to have 2 or more androids category allies on the team starting from the 5th turn. So remember, that guy gets, well, we have 1. Oh, no, we do have 2 extra androids. So we will get the transformation on this team. My bad. My bad. So remember, when he transforms, when he fuses, he gets guaranteed crits, right? And he is massively lowering defense. Again, I've said this in a lot of my videos. You start massively lowering defense, man, you are going to notice a difference in damage. I promise you. And then again, the guaranteed crits when you're up against a Goku. So that's not going to be any issue at all, right? This guy's going to do a lot of damage for you. He's going to be rocking a lot of defense. He's going to be solid, man. And then again, you know, Super 17. He's greatly raised in attack and defense for 1 turn. And then he also reduces damage by 30%, right? So let's see. Yeah. Or excuse me, 40%. And then he's getting extra attack every time he gets hit. So let's see. Target Goku category allies, chance performing a crit 17%. So he's going to be pretty good with a lot of these units, right? So he is also on Target Goku, I believe, right? Yeah, so I mean, you get them on a rotation together, or if you want to keep him on rotation, I mean, you've got a lot of options is my point here, right? So these guys, I think, will be good enough to get the job done. Maybe not ideal, but this guy, remember, he gets a lot of defense after getting attacks, right? And then he can also recover 30% HP when you drop below 40% HP. And also one thing I didn't mention, like on some of these previous teams, remember that these 3-year fusions, so this guy and then also the Worldwide Download Celebration, they're going to heal you as well if you get their transformation. So just keep that in mind, right? Those are definitely units you're going to want to bring. And then this guy, if you're at high HP, he does reduce damage, I think by 20%. So, which is better than not reducing damage at all, right? Yeah, when you have 80% HP or more. And then he also recovers HP. Remember also that a lot of these Majin Buu units link up exceptionally well. So let's go ahead and move on to maybe our next non-meta team, right? Ah, yes. Oh my god, it's so horrible. You don't have STR Bojack? Well, if you have STR Cooler, you're good to go. No sweat, honestly. Like, no problem at all. STR Cooler is going to be an absolute demon in this event. Just an absolute behemoth in this event. So he's going to get guaranteed crits against Goku when he gets to this version, which obviously you want to get him in this version. In this particular case, go ahead and just rock this dude as your main damage dealer. I mean, straight up. You can go ahead if you want to rock a double cooler. Maybe you could float one of them around. Or you could link him up with this guy and run him on the other rotation if you wanted to. But remember, you can also run this guy as a floating option. So yeah, as the first or third attacker in the turn, this guy is getting defense. And then when you're up against a super class enemy, you are also getting an additional 3 keys. So this guy, obviously we know this guy is absolutely bananas at this point, right? So and then this is going to be another really, really good rotation. So you're going to share all of this guy's links with this guy. This rotation is absolutely absurd, right? I believe they share all links except for one. Let's see. Do they share every single link? Yeah, I think they do. Wow, man. Yeah, that's a ridiculous rotation, right? So get them, I mean, assuming you have them rainbowed, or at the very least, you've got a couple of dupes in him. Make sure he has max additional. He's infinitely stacking defense. He's greatly stacking attack. And when you are up against a Goku's family enemy, look at that. An additional 100% attack and defense. This guy's like a must run in this event. If you're trying to get it done for the first time, just fucking run that guy. Easy enough, right? If you don't have STR Bojack, which again, your boy does not. Fizz Final Form Cooler. Don't be fooled. There is no Fizz Final Form Cooler. Even if you saw the Easy A medals on Twitter and shit like that, it was fake, right? So this guy is not coming. Remember, we're getting the SS4 Easy A's. So, but this guy is still good in his own right. Despite his low stats, despite him being, I mean, probably close to 5 years old at this point, he's still actually really, really good. He has start of turn attack and defense. And if you get him linked up with another cooler, it's just lights out, right? This guy, he's got big bad bosses. He's got, like, look at that link set, dude. That is a fierce link set. So I would not even sweat it. Even if, you know, if you have another unit that you kind of have in mind, remember that you can run any Terrifying Conqueror. Maybe you've got like a rainbowed Bojack or something like that, like an Int Bojack. Like maybe you've, you know, just for whatever reason, when you do summon on LR banners, you pull a lot of Int Bojacks. Like you could easily just swap in Int Bojack or something like that. Or whatever your most powerful Terrifying Conqueror / transformation boost unit is, right? So, and then this guy. This guy's going to guard the whole entire event, and he's going to be infinitely stacking attack. You could easily run him on rotation. You're not going to take any goddamn damage, dude. You could link him up with one of the coolers and just constantly support that cooler. Yeah, I mean, look at this, dude. He's going to be giving key 2 attack and defense 20% to all of your allies when you're up against a Goku's family enemy, which of course we will be. He's going to be guarding and reducing damage, man. He is absolutely crazy, dude. He is such a good free-to-play unit. He's really, really niche, but he is really good when he's inside of that niche. So let's go ahead and move on to the next team here. Ah, yes. The Connected Hopes team. Now, your boy, I got pretty unlucky on both of those banners. I did not summon either of those new units. It's been a long time since I've summoned the new unit. So, but this is my makeshift Connected Hopes team, and shout out to the Masked Ningen. I think he also posted, I don't know if it was identical, but a similar team on Twitter. So this is going to be led by none other than Namek Goku. Now, Namek Goku is a unit that definitely catches flack for good reason, right? He should be a little bit better. Like, no doubt about that. He should be a little bit better, but he is on a ton of teams. He does lead a really, really good team in Super Saiyans and Planet Namek Saga. And when he transforms, he does start to infinitely stack defense, which is really, really good. He does have a chance to... He has a medium chance of guarding all attacks. And then when his guard is activated, he does have a high chance of performing a crit. So I would definitely say I am looking forward to whenever it is this guy gets an easy A. It is, I mean, anything is possible at this point, right? If we get another big, big influx of Planet Namek Saga units for whatever reason, for, you know, another celebration in the future, you could easily slap an easy A on this guy. Why not at this point? But he is still going to be good. He is built for the long event, right? Like, he is. Get him into this version. Now, it's not always the easiest to get him here. 70% HP or less starting from the third turn. So if you get clocked with a super attack, type disadvantage or something in the first fight, you got a shot, right? So some of these other units, like, we've been over, right? So this is like future Gohan. He's not going to be transforming on this particular phase, but I think, let's see, Connected Hopes. I feel like Tech Trunks, let's go ahead and just, like, let's figure this out, right? I think you could potentially, if you wanted to, let's go ahead and find Connected Hope right here. Could we rock Tech Trunks? Why is Tech Trunks not on Connected Hopes? Yo, dude, that is... Oh, that's dumb as hell. That is dumb as hell. He should be. He really should be. How about this? You could easily slap on, like, Ink Gogeta or something like that. Like, there are a lot of options that you could easily run. Even this guy, Planet Namek Saga, right? Find another shocking speed unit, you're good to go. This guy infinitely stacks attack and defense. So, point remains, right, is you are going to have some options, assuming you've got some units, right? So, but this guy, he will reduce damage. He does greatly raise defense for one turn. When you're 58% HP or lower, he's going to reduce damage by 58%. The only thing is he's not going to ever transform because there is no Trunks on this team. Dude, why is Tech Trunks not on Connected Hopes? That is so dumb. Okay, so moving on. Int Gotenks, he's on Connected Hopes, right? Int Gotenks, so on Connected Hopes indeed. Again, this guy, we talked a little bit about Boo. You can, you know, if you get him in slot 7, you can float him off, and then you can kind of just get your Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Once he gets to this version right here, man, he is absolutely just absurd levels of power, greatly raising attack and defense. That chance to stun not really going to come into play here. But even in his Super Saiyan version and his base version, he greatly raises defense. So again, we talked a little bit about the 3-year fusions. They're both going to be good, especially if you can get that big-time heal, if you actually get him to fuse into Gogeta. 50% HP or less starting from the 6th turn. So not the easiest, but in a long event like this, more than likely I'd say you will get it, like no doubt about it. Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku going to do really, really good damage on this team, so he is really just here to be your damage dealer. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you don't always have to go for the absolute, you know, the 9 million attack stat with him. You know, particularly like in that last phase or something. Remember, he greatly raises defense for one turn on his 12-key super. With a 13,000 defensive stack, I have 2 dupes in him. That's pretty effing good, dude. That's pretty good. He's going to be able to have a decent level of defense there, especially if you get him an additional. It depends on how you built him, right? If you wanted to go more defense, you probably put more additional on him, right? But if you wanted to go max damage, you'd probably put a lot of crit on him. But again, he's going to obviously fit in very, very well on this team. So he's going to link up exceptionally well with Goku and Vegeta, sharing this link in particular he's going to share with them, which is really nice. Really watch the damage just flow with that guy. And then Fizz Future Gohan, not a unit that a lot of people talk about, probably for good reason. The thing about him is he builds up damage reduction as the fight goes on. He was notoriously, right, the tank that couldn't tank. And now that the long event exists, he actually can tank pretty well. He does get up to 50% damage reduction. Combine that with a decent defensive stat, and then 100% defense depending on how much HP you have. He's actually pretty good. I mean, for the long event, he's good. You link him up with, you know, anyone on this team or just run him as a floating option. Really no sweat. But let's go ahead and move on to the next team. All right, so moving on to the last two teams. Again, as I mentioned for PyCon, definitely same falls for Janemba. So this is the corroded body and mind, or what do they call it? Mind and body erosion, corroded body and mind. I believe that's what the game calls it. So this is that team, right? So led by a time traveler's leader, probably the most deserving unit that needs an EZA, at least Dokkan Festival unit that needs an EZA, it's this guy. So Int Goku Black desperately needs an EZA. However, for the long event, he actually can be pretty good. So remember, he's going to greatly stack defense. He does have a chance performing a crit each time each time attack is received. So, and then when he transforms, which is really tough to get, 80% HP starting from the 6th turn from the start of battle. But when you get him here, he's like pretty much good to go. He's got a 50% chance to crit. He's still greatly stacking defense. Just be careful. Don't get too big of balls with him. Oh, yeah, also he's supporting extreme class allies, which is really, really nice for another unit we're going to go over. So don't get too big of balls because remember, he's got no defense from his passive. So just make sure you get him a lot of stacks of his defense. That is going to be very, very important. Matter of fact, I probably would for this run. I probably will stack on some additional equipment. The person who owned this account before me, for whatever reason, gave him full crit like a dummy. You definitely want to go full additional on this guy, but when he gets to Int Rose, this guy here, when he gets to this version, he's going to be good to go. And speaking of Int Rose, this guy. Now, this guy catches a lot of flack because he's not really that strong defensively. I mean, certainly there are Dokkan Festival units, like Dokkan Festival TURs with better defense than him. But he's going to do so much goddamn damage, dude, it's not even going to matter. I think you could easily swap in AGL Rose for this guy if you don't have Int Rose. AGL Rose might be a better option for you. Still going to have big bad bosses and basically like a damn near identical link set, right? So just make sure you need to, if you're going to run this guy, just make sure you have like another prepared for battle unit, right? He is prepared for battle, yes? Oh, no, he's not. He's not prepared for battle. That's interesting. So he's got Fear and Faith, Dismal Future. That's what he's got. Okay. So, again, another big bad bosses unit, like, and he's going to be hitting for just, like, insane amounts of damage. But, again, AGL Rose probably even going to be a little bit better, I would say, for this event. But, you know, I've got the guy, I've been grinding his links and stuff. Figured might as well just slap him on the team. He's going to fit in well. So this guy here, if you can get him the deciding blow a few times, he can definitely still be really, really strong. Again, no one really talks about this guy. I feel like this guy is actually pretty good, so he gets an additional attack and defense 20% with each final blow delivered. So if you can get lucky and get him a couple of final blows in the first couple, 2-3 phases, he's actually going to have a lot of attack and defense. And again, he's not a big bad bosses unit. Ugh, I thought he was a big bad bosses unit. Either way. Oh, they gave him godly power instead. That's interesting. That's probably a good link for him, right? Because this is Goku. This is literally Zamasu, right? He just after he got Goku's body. So, again, I still think this guy can be really, really solid. So let's go ahead and check out his super attack. So on his 18 key, he's going to greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn. So that's going to be good enough on his big LR stats. Again, he can still be effective. I do stand by that. So I will probably have to try this team out because this Corroded Body and Mind team is very, very, very limited. You might maybe be able to come up with a Res Warrior / Super Saiyan 2 team, but I was struggling, so this is what I went with. So we know at this point, this guy's pretty damn good as well. Mass Saiyan, he infinitely stacks attack and defense, and he actually lowers attack and defense, but not really too relevant in this event. And then he obviously, gets a little bit more when you're facing 2 or more enemies. Let's see. 2 or fewer, right? Let's see. Key plus 1 plus an additional attack plus 50% when facing 2 or fewer enemies, which we will. And then he also gets an additional key 1 and attack and defense 30% when facing only 1 enemy. So he's actually going to be at his best in a long event. So in this event, he's going to be at his best, essentially. Just keep him on rotation, get that defense stacked up. He's going to be just fine. Again, I'll probably have to slap some additional equipments on him, but who could have guessed that he was going to infinitely raise attack and defense, right? And then again, this is another really solid rotation. Black Mass Saiyan and then the Dark Mass King. This guy in particular, if you can make sure that he absorbs all of the damage, you're going to be good to go. So like, again, this run in particular that I'm looking at, I might need a little bit of luck, right? Or you might need a little bit of luck if this is the team you're running. This guy's going to guard, and he's going to recover HP. This guy, not going to be the best defensively, so you definitely want to make sure that you're running him specifically next to the Dark Mask King. They share identical link sets, so they are like just absolutely ridiculous running partners, right? So, yeah, he lowers attack and defense. Again, not going to be super relevant here. Yeah, he's guarding. I mean, he's really good, man. And then he recovers 10% of damage dealt as HP. That's quite strong. So, again, not going to be the worst rotation in the world, but let's go ahead and move on to the very last team. So this is the traditional Giant 8 power team. So if you don't have Int Gogeta, I think we'll still be able to work something out here. I actually have kind of a little different of a team. So, but again, this is a pretty standard, what you'd call a meta team, right? So you link up the two Super Saiyan 4 LRs, or you could have them link up with, you know, Int Gogeta. Int Gogeta is certainly going to be very, very good. Specifically, is it 8 turns from the start of battle, where he gets, yeah, where he's super effective against all types, and then he gets that additional attack and defense 40%. Still going to be good. He's still got a high chance to be super effective against all types, and he's still going to be good even after that. But remember that this is only a 6-phase sort of event, so we'll see how tough it really is. We'll see. AGL Broly, he builds up attack and defense. He actually stacks attack and defense for 3 turns. Yeah, and then he gets an additional defense plus 20% with each attack performed, and then he gets attack with each attack received. So he can definitely, that attack, all of those attack and defensive buffs really start to add up, and then you stack that on top of his raising attack and defense for 3 turns. This AGL Broly is still pretty damn good, and he's definitely going to be effective in this event. Fizz Vegito, we'll see how he does, right? He does only normally raise defense, and on a measly 6,830 defensive stat, I don't know how good he's going to be in here. If you can get him a couple double super attacks, that'll probably benefit him a lot. And then again, he is going to provide Giant 8 power category allies, key 1, attack and defense 20%. So maybe he's one you just kind of want to float around as a support unit. And then Tech Broly, man, he is going to do so much goddamn damage. Again, he's just, it's not even going to matter. His defensive deficiencies are worth bringing him along. So he can basically triple super attack. You know, you get him a triple super, triple crit situation. He's going to be doing so much damage, dude. He does so much damage. It's kind of bananas how much damage he does. And he does lower defense, greatly lower defense to be specific, which again, you start to greatly lower, massively lower, that shit starts to add up, and he's going to do a lot of damage for you. Certainly one of the better damage dealers on this team. The LR Super Saiyan 4s really need not introduction. Make sure you get Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, his 18 key super. That is actually pretty important. And then of course, AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku. These guys are still like a top unit in the game for sure. They're really, really strong. This is the variant, I would say, like if you don't have Int Gogeta, this is probably what you want to go with. So a double Kid Gohan leader. If you get this guy linked up with a Goku of any sort, he's going to reduce damage by 58%, which is going to be really, really, really nice. In an event where you're going to be, you know, taking a lot of damage, right? Now, this is going to be, also keep in mind for this Giant 8 power team that pretty much, not quite simultaneously, but just like a week after, we're going to be getting these Super Saiyan 4 EZAs. Now, that Global definitely had a disadvantage because you're not going to be able to run all of the Super Saiyan 4s, I'm talking about the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegetas, on the same team, which sucks, right? Like, I really wish you could, because you could easily sub out for this guy and for this guy. Right, so that would be really, really nice. And then you get him on rotation with the STR, TUR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then another one on rotation with this guy, and he's got 58% damage reduction, and then you try to just plan it out to where, like, he's absorbing most of the damage, and you should be good to go. But Int Kid Goku's still a fine unit. At the very least, he's got his active skill. His chance to stun not really going to come into play here, but on that active skill turn, he gets guaranteed crits, which is really, really nice. And then this guy, unfortunately, he is, I would definitely say, a bit of a liability on this team. But the Giant 8 power is very, very limited. And the only other leader for the Giant 8 power is that int free-to-play GT Vegeta, right? Just not really cutting it at only key 3 50% to stats. That's not going to be good enough, I can tell you right now. That will not be good enough. So hopefully you have like some semblance of these teams, guys. And I guess we can go ahead and wrap up the video. I mean, no sense in carrying on any further. That was all of the missions, right? And presumably those will drop 5 stones apiece. Not to mention, you will get 1 stone for completing the level. So total, we're going to get about, you know, what, 36 stones out of this? And then also keep in mind, we will be getting the summon tickets, which will be nice. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if, you know, you thought I missed anything egregious or something like that. But I don't know, man. It's definitely going to be tough, but I actually kind of I'm embracing the challenge a bit. So, you know, it's really easy to plow through events when you've got all of the units. But when you're a little limited on the units you have, definitely a bit more challenging, and I like challenging content in this game. So slap a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you happen to be new. I love you guys, and thank you for the support. It means the world. And I will catch you in the next one. Later.